You're only required to discern to be a priest, to be religious, and yeah, to serve that community in particular. Now, you are not required to discern what will happen, how you will do it, because someone will tell it for you, or someone will ask it for you. You just need to obey. So that's, they call it blind obedience. Yeah, so
or
that's
holy
how
slavery.
or holy slavery.
Yeah.
I still remember. Yeah, they called holy slavery. Yeah, it's really one thing. It's a one way trip to that. So you either discern to be a priest. You should be a priest. That's discernment. If you are because if you discern not being a priest, then that's not a discernment. It's you are in crisis. So discerning to be this becoming a priest or wanting to be a priest is called discernment. Not wanting to be a priest, living in the community is a crisis. So yeah, that's those separate things. But outside, of course, we need to decide which is
Mhm.
which we have two things to decide or multiple things to decide, and we call it discernment. Once we got the conclusion, what we need to. So yeah, that's how basically it goes.
Yes, yeah. So what I felt in the community, well, I never knew what the hell discernment meant, to be honest, until I left, and then because I spoke to other religious, and they're telling me, yes, we have a period of discernment, and I'm asking, what is that? It's a period where you see what the life of the religious community is like, and it's your choice, and there's no pressure, and you get to stay if you want, or you get to leave. And I said, and I asked, oh, you don't just obey? They're like, no, it's discernment isn't just obeying. Discernment is supposed to be a process where you spend time, like you were saying, you're weighing the pros and cons, and you make a decision whether that's the road you want to pursue. But in the alliance, it's like, no, there's no more discernment. You just have to obey. And if you discern, they'll coin it as you're in crisis.
You're in crisis. Yep.
So,
And that's
when were you? Did you ever fall into crisis period?
oh yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I have fallen into crisis in many ways. I'm really sorry if someone hears this, my previous brothers or sisters, maybe I was also a cause of their own crisis during those times because I have become like an assistant, disciplinary one time, and I know I cause a lot of crisis and a hard time for them to think, to discern during my period. So it's very because I was also told to do so, and I'm just following those obedience during those times. So yeah, there are brothers that I handled before that got into crisis, and I still whenever we gather and we talk about the past, they always are reminded of me and what I do with them or to them during those times, very hard times, because I become like a part of the formator sort of thing, and then yeah, I ask them to do this, to do that, and I know they don't like it, and I know they are having trouble swallowing those, and really, I feel sorry for them. Again, if ever anyone hears this, I'm really sorry for all of you. Uh, yeah, it's just that I'm just aware right now, or should I say, enlightened
Yeah.
right now. Uh, yeah, where when I went outside because I'm pretty much not very good uh with with those with those battles before. So yeah, I have a radical mindset when I was part still of that community, or I'm still part with them, but now they are yeah very kind
Yeah.
right now. But before, very radicalized. So yeah,
Well,
um,
before they were connected so strongly to Father Bing, and
yep,
now, from what I know, Father Bing is out. From what I understand.
out. I the last time here he's out and he's creating a new one.
without, I don't know, it's just so crazy. But
It's a long, crazy story.
you mentioned being an assistant, and I remember like you're saying, they give you obediences to. Okay, so for those who are listening and are thinking, what the hell do you mean an assistant, like in the like a servant? Well, an assistant, the idea is you are in charge of a group of members, and you're supposed to be like a shepherd, and you watch over them, you give them things to do, and sometimes your task is to be rough because you need to purify them and
That's
things
correct.
like. So when I left, I remember like as soon as I left, maybe a few months later, I had all of this remorse, a feeling of guilt because I knew it's so complicated because like deep in my heart, I felt that it's not right to be mean or to be like
Yeah.
an asshole, but at the same
Yep.
time, as an assistant, I have to justify being mean because they're saying that this is the will of
But
God, and if I don't do it, I'm going to be
yeah.
hexed. So it was
Yeah, that's
very
what I
hard.
feel as well. Yep, that's what I feel as well. I sometimes at work, especially here in the Philippines, I even sometimes I see people like, oh, are they one of my students? Something like that. So I fall into paranoia sometimes. Oh, what did I have been assistant with this brother before? Something I do same. I often ask those questions on my mind because I know I'm not really good. I there are times that I needed to be mean, to be an asshole during the time just to make sure that this radical obediences can be performed, these rules can be obtained. So yeah, basically that's what I do before. So yeah, yeah, basically that's it. So I was a cause of crisis as well
Yeah,
on their end.
and it's hard because like you were saying, that. Well, for me, I did apologize to many people, but there are
Yep.
just so many.
I,
It's
I
like I
so
don't know,
many. Yep.
so
I asked for apology for that actually.
also here, I also apologize if I was ever a jerk to someone. I hope that they understand that that wasn't entirely me. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Not
did,
not this is not unintentional. Not intentional
yeah,
entirely.
but hopefully they can, forgive me and forgive us. But things have
Yeah. Forgive us
changed.
for that.
Now I wanted to ask now if we can shift the conversation to the founder of the community, Father Bing. What can you share with the audience? Like, let's say someone has never heard of Father Bing. How would you explain him?
So yeah, that's a good question. Um, Father Bing is a canon lawyer. It's is he's one of the founding fathers of the Canon Law Society of the Philippines. He's
Really?
a yeah, he's very smart and intelligent. That's literally smart and intelligent. I mean, and he has multiple doctorates degrees actually, and he is a former Salesian
Mhm.
because I realized that because I was in UST, I studied Father Bing for one of my thesis reporting one time, and I need to do like a quick background check with the community. Being the founder, Father Bing studied at UST, so though that's University of Santo Tomas, and I checked his one of his thesis, and it's the spiritual warfare and the uh, I think one of them is it's like a conspiracy, a book, that the thesis that he made for against the Freemasons or something like that. And yeah, he was actually if I'm right, he's very intelligent because he both got like in magna cum laude,
Mhm.
or and then I think the other one is a summa cum laude degree for the
Yes.
thesis. Very intelligent, and that's what Father Bing is. Um, So that's the background. He's very intelligent. There was a time when he became in the Salesian side, in the Salesian community. He was a former Salesian priest. I'm not sure if he became one of the rector, but he has a like He's one of the founding fathers of the Salesian community in the Philippines, which is located in Laguna, and that's where he met with Bishop Leodrona.
In Calubang.
I'm not pretty much in Canlubang. I think Bishop Leodrona and Father Bing both these are both Salesians, and 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 they are the ones who created the Canlubang, or the Philippine Salesian community first in Laguna. So they're basically the founding fathers on the Philippine setting, for the Salesian community to flourish. Then so I visited because I'm very much interested with the Salesian community. That's why I took the name Michael Magone,
Mhm.
not the Dominic Sabio, because someone already got that name. So second in line was Michael Magone, was the what you call it, the rascal of the
Yeah,
Salesians. Yeah, which I am still
a
some sort of
rascal.
that on the community. So that's how radical I was in the community. And then uh, when 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 um when I visit the Salesian communities, yeah, it's there. He is actually, yeah, still considered one of the founding fathers. He's very intelligent, as a person, theologian, and a philosopher. Yeah, that's basically the idea of Father Bing. And I think before he became a priest, uh, he was an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I understand of Father Bing. And yeah, not having he has a good credibility when it comes to theology, philosophy, and the teaching when it comes to the church, because he is a canon lawyer. He is still a canon lawyer,
Yeah.
and part of the Canon Law Society of the Philippines. So
But
that's why, yeah, yeah. So the idea of revolting against these bishops,
mhm.
it appears to be very natural, or should I say, it should come out very natural to Father Bing, because he knows the bylaws when it comes to the canon laws of the church.
As you studied him, because I mean I haven't studied him as you have, but like from my own, views of him, I felt that at times he bends the rules to get his way. Do you think he
Yep,
does it?
yeah, a lot of times. Uh,
Do you think
be,
he even breaks some of the rules of canon law?
that's a good question. I cannot presume he did, but because I'm not a canon lawyer myself, but um, there are certain rules that are basically because canon law is entirely a different field than our regular theology. They're like they're like the lawyers. There will be the jury when you commit like crimes, something like that. If you are a priest or something, so
Mhm.
they basically judge you. They're the judges.
Yeah,
Should I say in a case? So when it comes to that question, Father Bing is aware that this because what we are experiencing is like the basic laws. Even if you're not a canon lawyer, you should not know this, right? So
yeah,
these are just the because canon law might have a different laws they have on hand, but what I'm thinking is in the community we have the basic laws, and these laws are not met, and it's a pity that Father Bing is a canon lawyer and he's not here to check that out,
mhm.
and or if he did check, he just let it be as is, or that's what he wanted to be, or if he bend the rule, then he's violating what's supposed to be should be the rule.
Well,
So yeah, that's
I felt that he, because I mean, like we've established, he does know canon law, but there were times where, like, example for me and for you, like we were 16, 17, and then we read in canon law, it's like to join the novitiate, you're supposed to, or pastorency, you're supposed to be 18 years old. And
yeah,
then
it should
I
be 18 years old.
and I remember asking, like, hey, how about me? And the answer was, well, salvation of souls is the highest law, so
Yeah. That's I hear that a lot from people. That's not good. Yeah, because it's a fickle mind that he's playing with. Even me, I fall victim to that. Being a minor myself, and not just you and me. There are hundreds of us during those times. And yeah,
Hundreds.
yep, there are hundreds. We're hundreds. We're into hundreds, right?
Mm,
And because we have the brothers are flourishing during those times, um, and the sisters as well. We have a lot of sisters,
yeah,
and then there's nuns and monks, and there are the secret societies. There's a lot. There's hundreds of brothers and sisters uh, that have been affected with this sort of thing, and then yeah, I think recruiting minors is a bad business because someone can play your mind when it comes to that. We're still very fragile. We don't see or
yeah,
comprehend what's the rest of the world thinks or what should have been done. So I think they took advantage of our youth. That should be the term. They took advantage of being youth
yes.
for that. There should be for the law. It should be like 18 should be enough for us to decide, or at least the recruitment period should be at least you have like a graduate level something
Yeah.
because I'm not sure what in the mind of Father Bing because he's recruiting younger generations. He might have think that it's better to recruit this because the question less,
Mhm.
uh, think less, and they can be persuaded very much easily to join him. And of course, once you're there young, um, and you've given up all this sort of thing, when you go back, you have nothing to go back, something like that. So it's a closed loop. And then, so I think in his mind, he wants to create a community quick, quick, and then if you reach 18, that's the only time you have a proper education, something like that in the future. So I think that's what he should do or he's doing right now. And I'm not sure if he's currently doing it because I heard again he's creating a new community for that.
So well, there's so many things that you mentioned, and recruiting very young. Um, during your time, were you aware of any bizarre practices, you know, started by Father Bing?
Oh, do you want me to tell your story or do you want to tell my story?
Hey, you say it's up to you, my friend.
I witnessed first in hand. Um, I think we were professed already when we I think in novitiate the bizarre practice is which is a very very red flag as well. Was the word term. Um, do you know that the fasting days MWF?
Yes, Monday, Wednesday,
Yep,
Friday.
Monday. Right. Very those fasting days are terrible. Yeah, it's first as the salvation of souls. Well, praise to God. Um, I know that they're effective. It makes me look younger, some sort of thing, but very skinny. I'm very very skinny, those years. And then that's bizarre. No one is doing that, right?
And I showed you the picture
Unless,
where you're
yep,
very skinny.
yep, very very skinny, bizarre, and then that's one of the things. And then of course being caged is second thing. The the next thing would be the flagellations.
What is flagellations?
Oh, um, so for those who are not aware, flagellations are those who you whip yourself out. So it's basically you have a rope, you slash it to your back or your front or any parts of your body or even your face. So it's just a whipping on yourself. Or sometimes they ask someone to do the flagellations uh, on your behalf. Or sometimes on my end, we paired with, I don't know if you can still remember, uh, what's the first name? The other um the husband of Catherine.
I know, but I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah, yeah. So Sorry, let's
So
ask me.
he was your partner.
Yeah, he was my partner. So um, uh, he's he's a good brother. He's a good brother. Yeah, he's a good brother. We all did. We're
Yeah.
good brothers here. So he's very good. We partnered because the first thing is I. It's funny because my partner is a foreigner,
Mhm.
and yeah, I'm just a normal Filipino here. So when we do the flagellations, whoa, it hurts me. He hits me hard. Really, I almost bleed out.
Oh
So
my gosh.
the reason for and then we do it vice versa. So he flagged me and I flagged him. So and then it's actually I'm not sure if it's 50 or 150 during our novitiate.
Well,
And
to
then
to to do it to, I think to do it to a person, it could be 50 to 150 or something like
yeah,
that. But to
something
do it
like that.
to do it on yourself, it
Yeah,
was
you need to
almost
do it
300.
yourself.
It was a
300, I think 300, something like that.
333.
333.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's the requirement. And then there is even what we call community flagellation where everyone is in front of the altar when we do the flagellations in front of the exposed blessed sacrament. I think you still remember that. And then we flag ourselves in front of the blessed sacrament, which is very very bizarre. So yeah, that's the I was how you call it, culture shock, should I say?
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
culture shock.
that's yeah. So yeah, the we flag ourselves in front of the blessed sacrament, and for one reason, um, it's for our sins, yeah, and the sins of others. So, and then salvation of souls, of course. So that's salus animarum is the main, the core of all of that. And yeah, that's bizarre. So yeah, we flag ourselves in front of the exposed blessed sacrament, not naked, but yeah, half tops up, tops are removed, and then yeah, just to the back, and then sometimes we wear the sotanas, right? Well, we do
Yeah.
the flagellations. Yeah, we wear the sotanas or the t-shirts, where in the sacristy,
Yeah.
but yeah, the sacristy. So yeah, so that's what we do, and then um the next thing is I think we're yeah I would like to correct, we're not naked on that because we're very strict on purity,
Modesty. Yeah, pure
modesty,
purity
and chastity.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do it if you're into Christ like that, like I have before novitiate. So I need to do it in a room where I flagellate myself, like half naked
Mhm.
on that, and then we and then the rest are in front of the exposed blessed sacrament. They wear the sutanas or the clericals. Then they do
Mhm.
the flagellation or the flagging,
Yeah.
and then the rest are in the sacristies uh, uh, at the side. That's how they do the flagellations, and then in front um, was Father Francis doing also doing the flagellations himself. So yeah, basically that's one of the bizarre things.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody's doing that, and then I heard very very bizarre thing again. Another besides the flagellation, um, the perpetuals. So I did not get into the perpetual profession because I left already. Supposed to be they will be including us in the perpetuals. Thankfully, I'm not. So uh, so once we become so the perpetuals, the to be a perpetual, they require you to eat like a feces. That's
Eat
what I
what?
heard. Feces. They're a poop.
Yeah.
So so I'm not sure if someone will give you a poop or your poop, but you're required to eat that. Yeah,
Did you
that's the
ever
next.
know did you
Go
know
ahead.
the name they coined it?
I'm not sure what they coined it in that name, but one of the perpetuals told me that's how they do it.
So
Yeah,
someone did tell you, a perpetual told you
yeah,
that. That's
not just one. I think almost on my time, I think almost all of those perpetuals told me. they have that similar experience. So pretty much sure it's not something new to them. So pretty either or they might have one at a time experience having to eat those.
Okay, because I've brought that up on the podcast, and in America, they will let us know it's called the fourth degree of obedience.
Yeah,
And yeah, like Father Bing, I've mentioned this before, or whoever, yeah, Father Bing, in our commentary of the Constitution, it has obedience, and then there are three degrees of obedience. The first degree is you submit your judgment. Second degree of obedience is you submit your will, and the third degree, I believe, oh no, second degree is you submit your reason, and then third degree is you submit your will, and that's how you obey. And then the fourth one is supposed to be like a martyrdom, and you're adding context because I didn't know that the perpetual that all the perpetuals had to do this. I've heard
yeah,
a few, but if you've spoken to other people, and it
yeah.
gives account,
Yep.
it brings
I spoken with.
credibility.
Mm-hmm.
People say,
That's
"Oh,
true.
you're just making it up." It's like,
No, that is not a makeup. Because when I spoke to perpetuals during my time, pretty much all of them said the same thing. I don't spoke with them in a group, so I speak it with them like uh, one at a time or personally. Oh, because I'm very curious how they do it. So how do you eat like that? And they basically told, oh, they put it in. They have different ways on how they do it, but yeah, it's basically the idea is you need to eat at least whole or part of it when it's offered to you.
mm. So this is a warning. I mean, I'm very late to give a warning to the audience. This is going to be very
Yep,
graphic.
this is very graphic. Yep.
But there are two ways that there are multiple ways, but I heard one member saying in the, I think, the good morning talk or the good evening talk, he was
Mm-hmm.
like reminding us like, I know some of you members are having a hard time with obedience, but back in my time, back before, we had to eat our poop and do the fourth degree, and he was sharing that he would grab it in tinapay, in a piece of bread, and he would wrap
Mm.
it and he would put it in his mouth. But he would say that throughout the day he would burp, and the
Yeah,
taste would stay for a day or two. Another,
yeah,
and this isn't just the brothers, sad. It's very sad that even our sisters, I love our sisters, they're, for me, they're like family, but it's so sad that,
yeah,
they had to also do it. And from what I'm
yes,
aware, there are some, I don't know if the brothers or sisters, but who would, and these are the stories that get passed down, and they
yeah,
want
that's
it,
correct.
they want us to forget the history, but hey, I think it's right that we share
No,
this.
we
Uh,
share this history.
from what they would put it in the freezer, because you know how, like, when, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's
it
terrible,
it
bro.
well, it's so soft, the tae, the poop is so soft, so they
Mm.
put it in the freezer, so that's why it's not like a melted.
Yep, correct.
Oh my gosh. So I mean, and hearing you share that, what I also heard, and 'cause I spoke to many people who are, crying, in the community. When I was in the community, they were crying like, "God, I can't believe I've had to do this," and it affected me. But in my situation, I was prepared to do it because that's how I was trained, with obedience. Were you also like prepared to do it if they had given you that task
Oh, um, I
at
would
that
think twice.
at that time? I
At the
don't.
time, I would still think twice. I would still think twice. Yeah, because uh, I'm not sure if that is an initiation process being or to be a perpetual during those times. But again, as I mentioned, all of these perpetuals tell me the same thing. So pretty much, I would say that all of them have those moments where at least experience those the fourth degree. But yeah, if because supposed to be after second theology, you're supposed to be taking the vow of perpetuity. or the
Yes.
particular profession. Yeah, so since I did not reach that level, I don't have, or I don't need to experience those sort of thing uh, in the community. But yeah, it's not just the brothers. It's very even common with the monks, uh, and then the sisters. But the extreme ones are the monks. I think the monks. I'm not sure if these are requirement if you are professed on the monks or the perpetuals only. But I'm not pretty much sure with the monks. But I heard some of the profess took the fourth degree if you're a monk.
I heard that they did that. Yeah. Um, okay, stepping away from the fourth degree, I wanted to go back to flagellations because you said you like you slipped it in. You said, "Do you want me to give my story or your story?" So I'm curious. Were you referring to flagellation when you said that, or something else?
The flagellation, yep. The flagellation, the one in, we're professed already. The, what's it
Malapascua?
called? Victoria? I think,
Oh, in
is it Malapascua?
Victoria?
Is it Victoria?
What happened there?
The
Which one?
Victoria. In the
What
in the
happened?
chapel.
Are you not talking about the one in on our when we went scuba diving?
No, 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 no. Not that one. The one in the chapel in Victoria. I'm not sure if you that's different. The one with the scuba diving thing.
But which one are you talking about? Which one? I don't
uh,
remember.
so I'm not sure if you still remember. Um, or is it you? That's it's back then. So, but I think it's pretty. I think it's you. So, there was a time in Victoria where there are a lot of oranges or
Yeah.
dalandan.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So there was a time when we like imposed disciplinary measure. I think I'm not sure if it's you or one of the foreigners who is I think flagellated or humiliated in front of the community. Yeah, basically we're watching it, and then um and then yeah, that's basically it. Not I think you have also on the Malapascua, right?
Yeah. Well, say, with the Victoria one, I mean, it's possible because people need. I want people to understand that in my first few years, I was so into it. It's like if they were to, give me false accusations, or if they were to say no food, or they were to say, "Hey, your penance is to get beaten," I would say, "Amen. I deserve it." Because Father
Yeah,
Bing
yeah.
would
I
he
think
would.
you're into it those
I'm so
times.
you're so into it. But later, I started critically thinking, and I just went through. You know, our stories are different, but I went through like a process where I see in front of my face that they're just lying to me and lying to me, and in the one in Malapascua, um, I wasn't any more submissive as I was before. So can
Yeah, that's a very very disappointing situation in Malapascua,
can you
where
share
you have
what happened?
so what happened there is I think you have the Father John E, right? We went with Father John E. I think that he's the priest on that trip.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
say
sure.
names. I'm not gonna say names,
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
go ahead.
yeah. So that Father, I'm not sure. I think he's still aware, but because it's the past, uh, some of some of those I think was with me. I'm not sure if it's second novitiate brothers only.
Second division.
Uh, yeah. So because we have many Father Johns in the community right now because there are new Father Johns and other old Father Johns.
Hmm.
So so what happened here is that um, Father, I think I'm not sure. I'm pretty much not sure why he is disappointed on that trip, for example. But he just threw a tantrums on you, and then we are gathered to watch how you're being flagged. Actually, I don't understand why during this time because I'm just there to enjoy the beach, the island itself in Malapascua, but I'm not sure why he called us out in the open to have you flagged for that. So I'm actually disappointed in doing so during those times because I know what happened because I think before second novitiate I was a missionary, so I went outside for a quick mission, what you call that, mission uh, program, and then I came back after 2 years, and then I went to the second novitiate phase for that, and yeah, that's the situation. So I'm pretty much have the understanding what should be done and what should have not have been done, or what could have been prevented during those times. But this seems to be because the because after the mission where I because during mission you meet a lot of people and you have a better understanding for this particular rules. And I think the the flagging on your time was not appropriate, should I say, for many reasons. Because it's a vacation, you should be there to enjoy.
Mhm.
And my question there is, it's a red flag because why would you flag someone to kill the vibes during a vacation, right? So, and then it's a sponsored vacation, supposed to be everyone is supposed to enjoy. So I'm I'm not sure during this time if Father John have like a uh, premeditated hatred uh, about you on those matters, or he just do it according to his whims. So that's I'm not pretty much sure.
So since you're bringing it up and since you're a witness and it brings more credibility. So what happened was even before I felt that Father so and so was jealous. I mean, I don't know why.
Oh
I mean, I just felt that he was jealous, and his personality is he always wants to be the center of attention. He wants to be the life of the party, and he wants, oh, happy, happy. But if someone gets attention, he gets jealous. And I remember he was in the beach swimming with the other brothers, and I was in my own crisis because I shared with him before, like, hey, look, I'm having a struggles, and he would tell me, oh, you're acting like a gay person being weak, be a man. And so it was like very frustrating where here I was wanting some guidance, and then instead of being a priest, instead of being a man of God, he was being a total asshole to, I mean, my emotions are just, and I don't hate the guy, but that was just so fucked up.
yeah,
But what
yeah.
happened
That's
was,
so fucked up. What happened? I'm shocked. What's happening? Because they just called us
yeah,
for no reason. Why are we gathering here in the middle? In this, I think we're in a hotel or something,
yeah,
in
in the
the
room.
resort, and then in the room, and everyone is here. What's all this commotion? And yeah, I see you in front, and
So
here comes father
yeah,
talking something. Uh, what just happened? So
so
I
something
actually,
happened. Something
yeah,
happened before that. And again, apologies. I don't hate anybody, but hey, you know, for years I had to pretend that, oh, I'm getting beaten, I'm so happy here. No, so it's hard. i
no, no,
i
no,
so anyways, on that trip, he's swimming and everything, and the sponsor, the one who is there, I don't want to mention her name, she's a great person. She's like, hey,
mm,
I'm here with some the friends who are also working here at this place. Why don't you sit with us? And I'm so scared because I know that if that priest sees me, he's going to say something. And she's like, come on, we have this pizza, and there's like 10 slices, and there's only three of us, and you can have a slice. And it's like, we paid for it, it's okay. So I sit down and I grab a bite, and I don't know why, but that's the time when that priest comes out of the he
okay.
comes out of the water, and he sees me, and he goes, oh, amigo, very nice, huh? And then he gives me that look like, I'll talk to you after this. And
Oh,
in my head, naisip ko, nako, patay, I'm dead, I'm gonna be dead
patay
meat.
naman.
Patay naman, sus. And then we're supposed to have our evening prayer, and I'm trying to be positive. I'm thinking, nothing's gonna happen. And then we're starting the prayers, and then he starts off with, "We're going to have flagellation for these brothers, for the liturgists, because they didn't prepare my thing." Okay, so I remember the liturgists have to do flagellation, and then
Yeah,
someone else,
that's us.
you got flagellated too. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
yeah,
And then he goes, and last, Brother Joseph, because my name at that time was Brother Joseph. And he goes,
yep,
for being disobedient and da da da, you're going to receive 50 lashes. And I got angry and I said, why the hell am I going to get lashes for? I didn't do anything. And then he goes, you were doing your self will, self love. And and then
yeah,
and then I said, but I didn't do anything wrong. But then this is what pissed me off, because in cults there are spies, and this is the culty part, is where he was saying that, oh, brother so and so said that he saw you in the mall drinking a coffee, and brother so and so said that they saw you at a McDonald's buying a coffee, and so you're using the money for yada yada yada. So for your reparation, you need to lay down and allow the members to flagellate you.
yeah. That part is really bad. Um, yeah. I'm not sure why we're doing that. Pretty much everyone. So why are we flagellating Joseph for no reason? We in my mind during those times. Again, I'm just coming from the mission and flagellating someone for no reason. It's not a big deal, should I say? Uh, Buying food is good, but those for that reason, no, bad, terrible.
But
Yeah. So
what's funny, that the people who spied on me, I saw them at the McDonald's at the mall eating hamburgers,
yeah,
eating food, and
that's hypocritical.
and then I'm all, because it's a fasting day. Like we established earlier, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays we do fasting of bread and water. So I went
Mm,
to the McDonald's and I bought a coffee, and that was it, and an apple pie, because I mean, I'm not gonna buy a hamburger, but I see these
yeah.
other people eating hamburgers and they're stuffing their face, and I'm thinking, why are you beating me? I didn't do anything wrong.
Yep. You did not.
And never did I have an apology from that person. And I pray for him, because I mean, I am so tempted to hate, but the idea of I have for the podcast is not to, for me personally, if someone wants to hate, that's your right, that's your choice. But for me, I don't want to give into it. But the reality is that temptation is always going to be there. It's there, and there's
Yeah.
never been a.
It's there. It lingers every time. Believe
And
me, it's
I'm
there.
surprised you remember. I thought no one remembered that.
Oh, everyone remembers that. Um, yeah, it's a terrible experience. Yeah, because it's the I think we have here there Franklin, Father Franklin,
Mhm.
may rest in peace, and my batchmates for the second over here, of course. Um, and then yeah, I really feel bad during this time because that's because after the mission and seeing the community having those radical thoughts that are on my end because being a missionary you see the distinction between the good and the bad in the society because that is the exposure period and going back to the community seeing that it's inhuman, should I say. And yeah, that's something that should not be condoned when it comes to that because it's a terrible decision uh, uh, in a managerial level, especially you're handling this religious communities. It's pretty bad. So yeah, that one it leaves me up until this day. It gives me a bad taste to my mouth.
Yeah, it's been hard, and people have told me, just move on, forget it happened, and it's hard.
It's
It's hard to
easy. It's
pretend.
easy to say. Yep, it's easy
Easy
to
to
say.
say.
yep, this podcast cannot cover everything that's been done by the community, or what have been done in the community, or what should be done in the community. There are a lot of stories with brothers. Um, every brother or sister that is part of that community has their own story. They are just silent, but I know some of that are listening this, or will be listening to this podcast, and I'm encouraging them to go out from their closets, um, in a positive way. Yeah, because um, the past, confronting the past is good, to you psychologically, personally, but staying on that past is terrible, right? And if you don't want, if no one knows it, you're just, you're still confined to that space where you think you're still part of the community, and that past will not be erased anymore, but that past should be part of how we progress on how we succeed in the future, and to gain that maturity later on. So this experience you have, and those people who ridiculed us, uh, for that, you really don't understand what's going on. You might feel the same way or feel good about it, or but I know deep inside there are things that we regret, we don't say, or we have not performed during those times. That could be done or should have been done, but we just keep our mouth shut because we're very afraid by the rules or those who impose those rules.
Well, thank you very much, Junel. I think that this podcast has been very liberating for me to, you know, during the interview, live, you bring credibility that I'm not crazy, that I'm not making these things up, because sometimes
Oh,
people, make that
no, you're
assumption
not.
that. So thank you,
No.
and it's a healing
You
for me to hear that,
tell me
that.
who those who says you're crazy because they're assholes, idiots.
So I think that's it's been a great interview. I'm happy that you've come on, and I hope that even the abusers, those who were there, and Father Bing, I hope that they change, and I hope that they know that I don't hate them, and but I can, but I choose not to, and it's
Yeah.
I want to pray for them. Um,
Yep.
so I would like to give you like the last words.
Okay. Is this the closing part?
Yeah, if you want to say something to
Yeah.
the Filipino
So
audience.
yeah, for the Filipino audience, of course, many things have changed, including the characters in this podcast. The persons being mentioned, some of them are have changed. Some have gone by or passed away. Some of these characters are even sick by now at this very moment. So, kung sino man dyan, willing to expose or share not just expose because it's been exposed multiple times, but share what you've experienced for the purpose of helping our brothers or sisters who have similar experience or have worse experience than us, which I know there are ones, especially the sisters community. There are a lot. Um, yeah, yeah. Why not share? This is for everyone, and yeah, if there are things that you regret, it's better because yeah, you know, uh, let's leave this as a message to everyone. Um, exposing someone is and saying them that you're crazy because you expose that. No, that's very cultic still, and that mindset is should not be the mindset what we have in 2023. uh, yeah, and I pretty much, we don't want to live in the past, but we need to bring the past towards the future so that we do have the best journey we have of our lives, and that's it.
Well, thank you very much for your words of wisdom and for joining us on this podcast. You have been listening to me, the host, Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and to our guest, Junel, aka Mags. And this has been another episode on the Truth That Heals podcast. Thank